Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we may actually see some Alaska cruises this season. We'll have an update on the Disney Wish, and we're going to talk about what Walt Disney World resorts may have seen better days. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined this week in the studio by my producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Oh, hoy hoy.
And via the interwebs by Diz Senior Editor, Ms. Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everybody.
From Dreams Unlimited Travel, Mr. Chris
Vorbeck.
Oh, my God, Chris. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I know
It's
your
all
name,
good.
Chris Vorbeck. Chris Vorbeck.
Hi, good to be here. I was telling somebody that this is being here my first time doing this, so it's like what people must feel like when they meet Lin-Manuel Noriega, or Lin-Manuel or whatever.
Miranda.
So great to that's his.
Well,
great to be here.
we spent quite a bit of time in Europe.
We traveled Europe together, right?
A year and a
It was
half ago,
awesome.
I think it was. That's how I met Chris on an
when
ABD.
we didn't even think about pandemics or all those those were storybooks.
Yeah,
So,
right, exactly.
Our
Exactly.
stories.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
It
Well, welcome,
does.
folks. Glad you could be with us today. Before we get started, just a reminder, this show, along with all the content that we produce, is brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, of which I am one of the owners. And if you like our content, we could really, really use your support. Right now, if you could book your next vacation, Disney vacation with Dreams, you're going to pay the same amount of money you would if you went to Disney directly, but you get a phenomenal agent to personally help you plan your trip. Agents like Chris there.
Yeah.
So please, DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com for that. I also want to make sure I give a plug out to our Disney Dining Show YouTube channel, youtube.com/Disney Dining. That channel's seeing a lot of traffic, and we just put up a review of Maria and Enzo's, which, if you like my rants, you might want to watch that. I think it's the first time I've intentionally cursed in a vlog or a show, that it had to be bleeped out. Because I was that upset. And you can kind of watch, like on that review, you can kind of watch how the meal kind of seemed to be going all right, and then it fell off a cliff. It fell off a cliff when the check came. It had already started falling off the cliff, but the check was just like, oh my God. But go ahead and watch it. YouTube.com/Disney Dining. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. While you're here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button for us. Hit that thumbs up button as well. That helps us out a lot with YouTube. And we are going to talk a bit about Disney Cruise Line today. So a little plug for our DCLFan.com website and Facebook group. Jackie is doing a tremendous job keeping that updated with all the latest news happening with Disney Cruise Line. We also have youtube.com/DCLFan. Shows are going to start going up more regularly on that channel. We're gearing up for more, and especially because you're nodding your head yes, Craig.
I was like, let's just keep running down the list, because every time we go a couple weeks without mentioning that we have the other channels like UOFan, youtube.com/UOFan. Universal's now on its side. Yeah, people are like, well, we didn't know, so I don't know if they just skip episodes of this show.
At the beginning of the year, I made the decision to kind of split up this channel. Right, this channel, Diz Unplugged, had like 18 billion shows on it, and we decided to start focusing things, being a little less ADHD about our vlogging. So we moved the dining shows onto Disney Dining, youtube.com/Disney Dining. DCL shows, youtube.com/DCL Fan. We had already done this with our DVC content, or Disney Vacation Club content, youtube.com/DVCfan. Moving to Orlando, we did the same thing, youtube.com/moving to Orlando. And of course, the Diz channel's always been around, youtube.com/WDW info. And have we missed any of the children?
I mean, see Disney, but
Oh,
we're
see
not
Disney,
on that.
right? Well, for our Spanish language
Yeah.
audience, youtube.com/see Disney, SI Disney. I think I've covered everything.
Yeah. DCL, DVC, moving to Orlando, Disney Dining, UO Fan, see Disney, Dreams Unlimited Travel, Diz Unplugged.
Dreams Unlimited Travel.
Yeah.
Got that one. Yeah. So
A lot.
go check those out. We'll make sure there are links in the show notes after this show is over.
In the description every single week.
Oh, it's in the description every single week. So what do I know? I'm just the pretty face they trot out to stick on camera. This is the best they could do. All right. So I want to talk about. We're going to give an update on the Disney Wish, but I was so excited this morning when Jackie sent me the news story that last night President Biden signed the Alaska Tourism Restoration Act into law. Now, what is the Alaska Tourism Restoration Act? It is a law that allows foreign flagged vessels to sail out of Seattle to Alaska without stopping in a foreign port. Well, why is that a big deal? Because up until this point, U.S. law has required if your cruise ship is not flagged in the United States, it must visit one foreign port if it is leaving from or going to any U.S. port. So, for example, Disney's ships are all flagged out of the Bahamas. Now, why do they do that? Because if you are flagged a U.S. vessel, then you have to follow U.S. labor laws, which is about 40-hour work weeks, minimum wage, time and a half for overtime, scheduled time off, things of that nature. We can get into a debate as to whether or not the cruise line should be skirting around that, but this is not the time for it. We're in a situation. And of course, cruise ships bring a tremendous amount of revenue to ports like Alaska. And so by saying, normally if Disney sailed out of Seattle going to Alaska, they were going to have to stop in Vancouver. That's the foreign port that gets around, that allows them to be foreign flagged and go in and out of U.S. ports. But Canada's not allowing any cruise ships to dock in Canadian waters, in Canadian ports, because of the pandemic. And again, we could have a whole thing about that. All morning I've been hearing that song from South Park, the movie, Blame Canada. But don't, and I love the Canadians. I do. I love you. So don't email me. It's a joke. Not exactly, but a little. So now Disney has announced all sailings through July, correct, Jackie?
Yes.
All sailings through July have been canceled.
Through the 12th of July on the Wonder, through all of July for the Dream and Fantasy.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. Now, Alaska cruise season starts really late May, goes through June, July, August, into the beginning of September. Now, obviously, May, June, and up until July 12th at least, there's not going to be any Alaska sailings. But I find it interesting that Disney chose to draw the line at July 12th. I think they had a sense that this bill might pass. This wasn't like something that was just pulled out of, the thin air. It's been going through Congress. And if it did, huge opportunity. Of course, they're getting ready the end of June, take the magic out of ports in the UK for their UK staycation cruises, they're calling them. And this presents an opportunity. This presents a real opportunity. And I think if you are already booked on an Alaska cruise, didn't cancel, didn't reschedule it, from July 12th on, there's a chance. Now, there's no official announcement made, right? Disney has
I'm
not come out and said,
shocked.
we're doing this. Again, we're having to read tea leaves, but I'm fairly good at reading tea leaves. I think if you're scheduled to go to Alaska on the Wonder, there might be some changes. But I think you might have a shot at being on those ships. And I think the surest sign for me that we are coming out the other side of this would be something like that. You know, masks are no longer required outdoors at Walt Disney World. And now, maybe, we'll have cruises out of going to Alaska on in July. Now, other cruise lines have already announced that they are doing this. John sent them to me. I know Royal, Princess.
I think one Carnival ship, maybe. I could be wrong on
Yeah,
that one.
so there are some going out of Seattle, I believe, to Alaska, or is it no, it can't be Vancouver.
No.
So it's Seattle.
Yeah.
And those are very nice. And Dreams can book those too. Dreams can help you with those. Get great shipboard credits. All sorts of great stuff we can do with that. So you can absolutely go to Dreams. And John's going to kill me because he sent me all this information and I didn't put it in my script. But now, Chris, you've done a lot of Alaska sailings, as I have.
I've done 2 Alaska sailings, and I'm scheduled to do mid-August this year. So there's a whole bunch of us who have been watching very carefully and are very eager to hear the announcement. And I mean, I have a 10-year-old kid. He goes on summer in a couple of weeks. We need to make decisions about what we're going to do soon. So it would be nice for them to let us know. Alaska is awesome. I mean, I don't know your experience. When we went up there, I took my family and everybody, and we went up, and it feels like you're in the final frontier. I mean, it is the one place on planet Earth where you just feel completely different and detached. And not only does it stay late, it stays light so late in the day, but it's such an amazing place, and all these cool towns, and you get to see, you hang out for a day, get to overlook the glacier. It's an incredible experience, and unlike any other cruises that I've done. So
yeah, no, it's same here. I've done several of them. I've done a number of them on Disney. Most of them on Disney. I did do one on Royal. I did do one on Norwegian. Norwegian is also sailing this season to Alaska. But the Disney experience doing those sailings puts the others to shame. It just puts the others to shame. And it is scenery and we've taken pictures and we've done videos and stuff like that, and we'll try and dig some of them up to link you to them. No matter how good we are at taking video or taking pictures, you can't capture the beauty of it and how serene it is. Now, whether or not, because right now you can't book anything. Right now you can't book any Alaska sailings on Disney Cruise Line. Whether or not opportunity is going to open up to book it, we don't know yet. But it is my favorite itinerary of all the itineraries I've done. A very, very, very close second was when I did the Norwegian's Pride of America out of Honolulu around the Hawaiian Islands. Mm. That was phenomenal, but it was also like a gazillion dollars. And the ship was really kind of old. But that Disney experience, Disney service, the Disney touches, going to Alaska, it's incredible.
Well, and the concern that I often hear people is that it's Alaska, so it's not summer warmth, right? It's usually 60s, 70s. It's cool. You definitely want to. You're not packing as if you're going to the Caribbean, but the Disney does great things like the pool is heated, And so I have this great picture of they put the glacier up on the big screen, and my son is in the pool looking at the glacier. It's a wonderful contrast, and it's great for kids to learn. We went to a salmon bake, and we got to see them catching the salmon. It's really a really majestic. And you spend a whole day cruising like the inner corridor, and you see these other ships that are loaded, because some of these towns, the only way you can get there really is by boat. There's no roads to get places, and so it's an incredible, and more bald eagles than I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like eventually you get to the place where it's like, oh, another bald eagle? It's like, oh, okay, it's just incredible.
Yeah, no, the nature. And look, and I'm not nature boy, right? I'm nobody's definition of nature boy. I'm not one of the crunchy gays. But oh my God, it is so stunning. And there is nothing better than sitting out on the balcony, on the veranda of your stateroom with a cup of coffee or a cup of hot chocolate, watching this incredible scenery pass by you like you're watching a movie unfold. And then when you get to, depending on which glacier they go to, it's insane. It's insane how beautiful it is. And I don't want to make the whole show about the Alaska sailings, but I'm just, there's this slow drip of hope, right? We got the Wish and started booking the Wish, and everybody getting excited about that for next year. Now we're hearing about this, and Disney World dropping mask requirements outdoors, upping capacity restrictions. It's like, okay, finally, there's some good news. Finally, there's this chance to return to something that remotely resembles normal in this dumpster fire of a world we're in right now.
I think one of the more interesting things is everyone kind of wrote off. It said, "Oh, Alaska's not happening because Canada said they're not," and it ends up that Alaska may be one of the first places in the U.S. to actually where cruising happens, and it's just this weird irony.
Well, you just look at how things have gone. The CDC finally comes out with the guidelines that say this is what the cruise lines need to do. They've been waiting for that forever. Got that a few months ago. Then somebody from the CDC tells a reporter, we can see cruises leaving U.S. ports by mid-July. Okay. And now we're hearing this. So, and this is all in the span of the last, 6 weeks? So it's like, finally, especially those of us that are huge cruise fans, I'm out of my mind. I so wish I'd had an Alaska book this season. I so wish I had an Alaska, but I'm gonna hunt. I'm gonna need somebody to go with. So if anybody out there wants to come on a trip, let me know.
I'll tell you which cruise we're on after. We're on mid August, so if you want to come join us, we'll have a good time.
Just then text me the dates you're going.
I will,
so that I can I can stalk that sailing. But very, very excited now. Of course, with this possibility, my head goes to, well, they're doing UK staycation cruises. Could this open up the possibility of, if they can get, obviously, I don't think the CDC is going to throw their guidelines out the window because Biden signed this order. They're still going to have to follow those guidelines. If the CDC clears the ship for that, then what's to stop them from saying, okay, well, you can start going out of Port Canaveral to the Bahamas. Bahamas is a foreign port. So this could be a domino effect. And I'll make a prediction. Not all my predictions have been correct. if you're thinking about booking a cruise for the holidays this year, book it. Book it. Because I think we're going to be seeing something approaching normal sailings out of the U.S. Now that we're seeing this, now that there's actually like laws being passed saying this is okay, the CDC is saying this is what you need to do. Now there's a framework, now there's a guideline, and we might see this.
And I think it's important to say, Pete, that the Cruise Line Association has made a big effort and put a lot of energy and effort into figuring out processes that make this safe, as well as getting it done, but making it safe. And I know you share, if you've done a Disney cruise, you know how clean those ships are. Mm-hmm. They do an amazing job. And I've been to Walt Disney World 3-4 times during the pandemic, and I was just blown away at what an amazing job they have done to make sure everything was done in a safe way. So I've been exceedingly careful. I have vulnerabilities. I want to stay alive. I have a 10-year-old. Thank you very much. But if I trust Disney explicitly to, when they're sailing, I will happily get on a Disney cruise.
Yeah,
I don't have any doubt whatsoever.
We used to talk about this all the time before the pandemic, that Disney Cruise Line routinely exceeded CDC guidelines for cleanliness on their ships. Yeah. When they would get inspected, they weren't just meeting the guidelines, they were exceeding it. So I agree with you, and this is not just because we're in the pandemic I'm saying this. I've been saying this for years, that their ships, they've always gone out of their way. And I think they're just going to up their game even more. Yeah. I think they're just going to up their game even more. But let's talk about another aspect of Disney Cruise Line. I know this is not the Disney Cruise Line show, although you could be forgiven this week for thinking that it is. The Disney Wish last week, bookings were open to those in the platinum tier of the Castaway Club.
And the super platinum tier.
Hi.
Those of you in
yeah, so Platinum Plus was what? 25 cruises or more?
25 more, yeah.
So that was me. I was able to get it first day. And then, Platinum is 10 cruises or more. And that was last week. And wow. Concierge rooms, the most expensive rooms on the ship, for the maiden voyage, sold out in the first 2 days, just from Platinum Plus and Platinum. The rest of the ship sold out in 4 days. Again, just Platinum Plus. Now, there is spotty availability on the maiden, but not a lot, because and there's not a lot. I don't think a lot's going to open because the deposits on the maiden voyage were non-refundable. So not an awful lot of people. It's not as easy to walk away from a non-refundable deposit as it is from a refundable one. From what we're seeing, the rest of the sailings on the Wish are pretty open. There's still good availability. Now this week is gold and silver Castaway Club, and then the rest of the world gets to book, I think, Thursday.
Yeah, today is DVC/ABD Insiders. So then tomorrow is silver, and wrapping up with everyone open and available once it gets to Thursday. And yeah, I was looking at pricing yesterday because I'm in the gold category. I was able to book as of yesterday, and once it gets out to late August, September, the pricing is a lot better. That's in line with what I'll be able to afford.
Some of the pricing in September is ridiculous. Yeah. It's fantastic, like really good. Again, I got in on the first day. I got what amounts to a category 4A, which is a regular veranda stateroom, but in concierge. Some upgraded things in there, but it's basically a typical veranda stateroom. and I got it for, I want to say it was like 12,800 for two people, which is expensive. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm seeing that same stateroom in September for 9,000, 10,000, and like regular staterooms at really reasonable prices. So it's not, if you want the maiden voyage, that's pretty much gone. And of course, because of the number of how well things have gone in the cruises right after the maiden, the prices on those have come up. But there are still plenty. As you get further out, that ship isn't nearly as full, so the tier pricing hasn't gone up. As the ship fills, the prices go up. So there are still really, really good opportunities. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com. Get up to $1,000 shipboard credit. Disney's not going to give you that. And it's
Pete,
the
I
same
think
price,
it's important
and it's
to
the
note,
same price you pay Disney. You're not paying anything more. Okay, we're just giving back part of our commission to say thank you.
I think there's been a misconception out there that people outside of the maiden voyage, you have the 20% deposit that's non-refundable. Outside of that one, that restriction isn't. You don't get it. It's not a non-refundable on anything but the maiden voyage.
Right.
So I think some people said, "Well, I don't want to lose my deposit." You're fine. It's not. You're okay.
So, Chris, how crazy has your life been this past week?
I will show you. These are all the people that I have for just this week. So my week this week involves all that and a lot of wine. It has been crazy. I was booking a DVC person today, and I was you can only do it by phone because they have to check and make sure you're a DVC person. And I was on the phone for 2.5 hours, but we got it done. We got the room she wanted, so it works, and that's awesome when I get to make that happen. So it's been very busy. People are very, very excited about this show. It's great.
And that's another, again, I'm sorry for the commercial, but it's another reason why Dreams, using a travel agency like Dreams, really, really good idea. Specifically use Dreams. But, Chris had to spend 2.5 hours on the phone to get this booked. And if he wasn't doing that, you would. And believe me, a lot of people found out the value of that last year when things started getting canceled. And there were hold times of 8, 9, and 10 hours to talk to somebody at Disney Cruise Line to get things moved around. Having somebody else do that for you, and you're not paying any extra for it. That's pretty cool.
I'm going to be with you on that maiden voyage, so I have the great excuse that I have to do this because I have these clients and I have to be able to tell them what this ship is like. So,
absolutely,
yes, you're taking one for the team.
Yes, I have to do it. So,
what was that, Jackie?
Research is important.
Yes,
you have to be able to speak to the experience firsthand.
Yes, I agree, and I will live stream from that maiden voyage. Believe me. But I'm really. It just, this is 2 shows in a row where there's been some really good news. Now, granted, it's not everything, but we're never gonna reach like a day where all of a sudden everything's fine. It's going to be this march toward that, and now we're seeing progress. I think a lot of us have been frustrated by the fact that we haven't seen that. And now we're starting to. So there's
it's interesting to see on the boards because we are seeing a lot of hope, but people are going, okay, we want fireworks back. We want, we get a little bit, and people want. We all want to be back to normal. And
I think, let's talk about fireworks for a second. I think this summer we're going to see them come back. What do you think, Craig?
We've actually been talking a little bit about it in chat. I think Disney could start fireworks tomorrow if they wanted to. They could start it right now if they wanted to. The problem is fireworks cost a lot of money. And with park reservations constantly filling up, they already have people coming in spending money. So it's not like they need more enticement. There is a giant group of people out there saying, we're not coming back until parades are back, character meet and greets are back, fireworks are back. Well, people are still coming anyways without those things necessarily happening. So Disney doesn't need right now to add that extra play in. And as capacity continues to grow and more people can come in, if they start having that problem, then they could definitely add more in. But right now, why throw away money every night when you already have people coming anyways?
All right, so let me throw this out to the chat room. I know you're watching it, Craig. Jackie, are you watching chat too?
I am, yeah.
Okay, let me throw this out to the chat room then. Would you pay an extra $20 on the way into the Magic Kingdom for a fireworks show? Would you pay a premium for a fireworks show? And I'm not talking about a dessert party. I'm talking about any fireworks at all. Because, Craig brings up a good point. Fireworks cost money. And as I've said many times, like a lot of businesses, mine included, Disney lost a lot of money last year. And they're going to need to figure out how to get some of that back. And I've said many times, we're going to see like cabanas in Tomorrowland. Crazy ass ideas like that, are money grabs. So what if
everyone expects?
So like everybody's like, I want fireworks. I do too.
The chat is flying, like so much to the point that mine isn't even keeping up on the app that I'm using here. I would say though, if I'm really looking at it, I would say more people are saying no than yes. But there is definitely there's a split. There's a serious split on it. But
isn't paying fireworks what they're calling? Isn't that what the Boo Bash is? You're basically paying for, and they're going to do fireworks. I'm guessing they'll do those for the Boo Bash thing.
No. That's where this conversation started in chat. Was someone was asking about the Boo Bash and why not just do Mickey's Not So Scary? And again, it goes back to it. It's that with Boo Bash, it's probably going to cost about $125. It's going to be 3 hours of the park access, like the Disney After Hours is, with cavalcades and trick or treating. But people they're going to pay it without the fireworks. They absolutely are going to pay it without the fireworks. And it would be great if they would. And I hope I am eating my words now. And we're rolling around to September, October, and people are telling me how terrible I am, that I was wrong, and I shouldn't be doing this for a living. I would appreciate that because I want fireworks to come back. I don't see a world in which, if people are already spending money, why Disney needs to throw in those extras right now when they can just get away without it. I mean, it might hurt for return visitors because people say, oh, we finally came for the first time and it wasn't our thing. It might hurt for that, but as soon as they announce dining plan return, if they ever do, fireworks return, we're going to see another influx. But right now, there's just not enough park availability to even really make a difference.
The one problem with that, Craig, is that like I'm taking a big group down for Memorial Day, and a bunch of them have never been before, and we were going to do Cinderella's Royal Table, but it's the same price as when they had a bunch of princesses in there, and it's not cheap, of course. And so I said, hey, we don't need to spend that much money for not getting the same experience. They'll come again because they know me, and I'm going to drag them down with me, and they have a little girl. And so we'll do it again, but I think they are missing out on some things because it isn't the full experience.
And, Cinderella's Royal Table, same price, no princesses, and probably the same crappy food they've always served.
Yeah, I'm going to give a plug. We have on our dining channel, my wife and I went to Chef Mickey's. Jackie was able to score reservations for us and snuck us in with very, very little notice. And that was, that's a situation. Dinner right now at Chef Mickey's is $55 per adult, $36 for kids, and served family style. I'm not going to ruin the whole review for it. You should go watch it yourself. But it's basically, the quality of the food I thought was good for the most part. Dessert was definitely lacking, but if you fill up on the mains, then you're not really caring about dessert anyways. But it's still it's probably an equivalent of $30 to $35 Disney money on the meal itself. So then you have to look at it. Is $20 extra per person worth it to see characters? Because you still can't get up and meet them. They stand and they just wave, and you can take selfies with them, but you can't actually meet them. So is it worth it for $20 extra a head? I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough call.
It is. It is. But
I think it's still a lot of fun, but that's just me.
Well, you think everything's fun.
I mean, for the most part, I do, but I love the whole way characters are appearing at Walt Disney World now, because I think it's really cool that they are doing things that young adults and older kids like to do, where they can take selfies and they can, do all kinds of stuff. And the characters are playing into it too, with, posing in the background, doing really cool, different things than they used to do when it was just a hug and a signature. Like, I think it's cool. It's like, it makes it new again. So it makes people like me who have been to Walt Disney World a million times, it's a different experience. And I, for that reason, think it's cool, because then your pictures this year are going to be different. It's not going to be the same old picture of your daughter hugging Marie from the Aristocats. It's going to be, Marie in the background somewhere. And I'm just using Marie as an example because she's my daughter's favorite, but it's new. So anyway, I think it's really cool, but.
Yeah. All right, let's move on a little bit. Great article went up on the Diz this past week by one of our contributors, Shari Kessler, called 3 Walt Disney World Resorts That Have Seen Better Days. And I thought this would be good to throw out and to kind of talk about. And I want to get some feedback from the chatterati in the chat room. I don't do that enough. I don't talk to the chat room enough.
I was actually going to suggest, if we went short like last week, we could just do a live Q&A as well too on here. But
I'm just saying, in general, I forget to acknowledge these folks who watch us live on YouTube and interact, chatting on the show. I really do appreciate you. Not enough to mention you, apparently, but I do appreciate you. So this article, again, 3 Walt Disney World Resorts That Have Seen Better Days by Shari Kessler. And the first one that she has on the list, I'm all in. I'm all in. Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. She writes, Disney refers to this deluxe resort on the monorail line as lavish. The exterior is still a work of art and has maintained its elegance since 1988. And I agree. I agree that the exterior is stunning. The problem is when you get into the rooms. I think back in 2019, I did what is now an infamous review with my mom of the Grand Floridian, where the phrase body fluid couch was born. And you can watch the video. We'll find a link and throw it up there. I savaged this resort. And this was on the hotel side. Because you got to remember, there's the hotel side of Grand Floridian, and then there's the Disney Vacation Club side. And it's like two different worlds. It's like two entirely different worlds. So this was the hotel side. And it wasn't just that it was in need of a refurb for these rooms. It was in need of a complete and utter management change. Because from front desk on, the experience was absolutely awful. The attitude of some of the cast members there was absolutely awful. Not all of them, but enough of them to note. And management was asleep on the job. We had a number of service failures, brought them up, and pretty much fell on deaf ears. It wasn't until after the review went up that I got calls. I'm like, oh no. When I'm just a regular guest to you, I can be ignored, but when I, put a review up on YouTube, then all of a sudden you want to call me? No. So that call never got returned. Jackie, Chris, have you stayed at the Grand?
I have. I actually have several times. I've stayed on the resort side and the DVC side. And I have not ever had anything other than a stellar experience there. And I don't know if that's just because of the way I kind of am. Like I don't really know. But every time I've ever stayed there, I just love it. And my husband and I honeymooned in Port Townsend, Washington. And if anybody knows anything about the Seattle area, Port Townsend is this little Victorian, gorgeous town over on the Olympic Peninsula. And they have bed and breakfasts, and their neighborhoods, their houses are these old Victorian, gorgeous houses. And so everything about the Grand Floridian reminds me of our honeymoon. And for that reason, I feel just this whole sense of joy about me when I'm there. And so I feel like it would take an awful lot for me to be.
Yeah, but you're also like, the happy lady. And I don't think anybody's going to accuse me of that.
But I also am known to get pretty irritated when customer service isn't what it should be. And I get pretty annoyed when things don't get taken care of that should get taken care of.
I would pay such good money to see that. I would pay such good money. Because I imagine Jackie irritated as, darn it, that's not magical.
Oh, no. No, it's not cute. Like, sometimes my husband is like, you need to chill. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. And I will not chill. Thank
but
you
even
very
that, with a smile on her face. With a smile on her face.
Yeah.
She can't help it. I mean, I love her for it. My God. Especially, she is the counterpoint in this company for me. Okay? She is the counterpoint in this company for me, and God knows we need her on more levels than just that.
By the way, never a way to get somebody to chill is to say you need to chill. It's that never works.
That is definitely wrong.
I haven't been at Grand in a while. The 2 times that I was there, most recently, we had that gorgeous room. It's like a 2-bedroom suite. We were going with other people, and it was, you look out literally outside, and the castle is right outside your window. You have the monorail going by. I mean, you can't be you're immediately like Jackie if you're in this room, because there's no way not to be happy. The resort overall has always felt a little stuffy to me. It's a little more prim and proper than I am, and I almost feel bad going there, showing up there in my Disney clothes. But that lobby is so gorgeous, and there's nothing like being in that lobby around the holidays when they have, the smells. I hope they bring the music back. All those things. I hope those things come back, because that's what made the Grand Floridian grand, I think.
Well, go ahead, Craig. What were you going to say?
Hi. I will always take as many chances as I can to really share how much I dislike the Grand Floridian. I love it at Christmas time. Like, the Victorian feel in Christmas just blends together so well. But any other time of the year, I feel like it is a vacuum for magic. It's just, there's nothing there. It's just, I don't understand it at all. And I walk through it every single time I go to the Magic Kingdom, and I walk through it. I'm like, I wish they could have built a bridge up and over the Grand Floridian. That's how much I dislike it. And that's not a reflection of like the restaurants there, because I've enjoyed times at 1900 Park Fair, Citrico's, even I can't think of
Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yeah, Grand Floridian Cafe. Thank you. I've enjoyed those places, and one day I really do want to eat at Victoria and Albert's, but I don't want to ever stay there. The last time I had to stay there was during the Toy Story Land media opening. That's where we had a room, and it just I was literally saying to myself, I would rather just drive home right now. It is a lot more comfortable. It's a lot closer, and get me out of this room.
I'm okay.
Jackie, you have to work
I
it
say
out,
there's
but you have a
something
lot
there's
of
something
happiness
like
about
going
this.
on that I can't talk about right now. I love my job. I love my job. We really need a vlog of Craig staying at the Grand Floridian. I think Craig and I should stay at the Grand Floridian and do a vlog.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
And
Take Jackie with you. Take Jackie with you.
I'm like, what is happening right now?
yeah, there's stuff going on I can't talk about, but I love my job. But I do need to get back to the Grand. I do need to do another review. Well, when it opens. Is it open? It's the hotel side's not open, is it?
No, yeah, it's open.
Is
Yeah.
it?
It's open. Yeah.
I didn't think it
Oh
was.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Yep.
I have people staying there next week, so I certainly hope it's open.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll grab a room, do a review, update it. But okay, also
Which is more infamous, your Maria Enzo's review or the Grand
they're
Floridian
kind of on the
review?
same. I mean, I didn't. At least I didn't curse on camera for the Grand Floridian review.
I mean, your
Well,
mom's there, so you're probably biting your tongue a little.
Yeah, when I rename a restaurant, run the F away. That's a bad review. That's a bad review. All right, second up on the list, I can understand but do not agree it belongs on this list. Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. And this, her basis for this is transportation. How bad the transportation is because of where the lodge is located. That you really need a car. And I've only ever had a car when I've stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I cannot speak to the experience of having to rely on their bus service. But
It's not bad. I mean, I've stayed there when we flew in, and it's not. I don't understand. I feel sometimes like people are focusing on things that, like, I get that transportation takes a chunk of time out of your vacation, but if you don't want to spend the money on a rental car, then you have got to wrap your head around the fact that when we tell you, and the Disney site tells you, to allow up to 90 minutes to get from where you are to where you're going, they mean it. And I have not had it take more than 90 minutes to get from A to B from the Animal Kingdom Lodge. I mean, we did not feel like we spent an excessive amount of time waiting for buses to or from anywhere. And yes, the bus ride does take a little bit longer, but we love the Animal Kingdom Lodge, so that was worth it to us to be a little bit cut off. So it's a give and take to me.
I love Animal Kingdom Lodge, waking up with animals outside your window. I think you said on one of the DVC shows, Pete, there is a zoo outside your window. It's amazing.
oh, get it right, Chris. Get it right. The line was, "It's got a friggin' savannah."
There you go.
It's got a friggin' savannah, for God's sake.
And it's amazing.
And
it is
not
amazing.
just that, the entire facility
Yeah.
of that resort is superb. It just the furniture, the rooms, the theming, the cast members, the food, generally speaking.
Food.
I think it's got some of the best food and beverage on Disney property. Incredibly well run, incredibly well managed hotel. But again, that's how I review it. I don't review it from the standpoint of what the experience is, which is a legitimate experience, using the transportation. So
I wonder if the buses is COVID related, because the buses are they're not as frequent. They don't put as many people on board. So I'm wondering if that's a COVID thing. And so it's not. When we've been there, it was pre-COVID. So and our experience wasn't terrible. But I have heard problems with buses during this particular period. So
I think the solution and this is going to sound crazy, but I think the best solution is just build more hotels in the Animal Kingdom area and make it a true Animal Kingdom area. And then you'll get more buses out there if they're also servicing aren't too far, and neither is, some of the other ones around there. But just there's still land out there. Just build more hotels, and then we'll throw more buses that way. And everything else about the hotel is so great. So just fix that one little thing. It's all easy.
Now, the last one on her list was Boardwalk. Basically, she talks about the closures of ice cream shops like Ample Hills, the lack of nightly entertainment, and very few dining venues. And obviously talking about the situation right now with Boardwalk and COVID. And I can agree with some of that stuff, but again, I look at the hotel, these hotels from a standpoint of, all the hotels have seen better days right now. We've all seen better days as it is right now. But now Boardwalk, if you're going to stay concierge on Disney property, my strong recommendation is that Boardwalk, not that concierge is open at this point, but Boardwalk is where you should stay. Unbelievable. And if my mother has a choice of any place to stay, especially after the trauma that was Grand Floridian, it's Boardwalk. And I love the Boardwalk. I like its proximity. I like its proximity to Epcot. I like the feel of it. I love the rooms. They're a little. What's the word I'm looking for those rooms? A little, not stuffy, but fussy. The rooms are a bit fussy, but they're adorable. And I always thought that the facility itself was really managed and maintained really well.
And the clown pool's gone, for goodness sake.
And they got rid of Pennywise the clown pool. Because that was, every time I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's Stephen King's It. Is throwing up children all day long.
I always focused on the wooden parts of the roller coaster, and it reminded me of the Cyclone at Coney Island, where I spent an entire month every summer when I was a kid. So I ignored the clown and paid attention to the...
Now, honorable mention on this list goes to Paradise Pier out in Disneyland. Now, it's important to understand Paradise Pier. This was not a hotel that was built by Disney. This was actually built by another company as overflow housing for the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Disney bought the property and then tried to slap lipstick on a pig, putting some theming in it. But this hotel has such a disconnect from other Disney hotels. So I understand its place on this list. And Disney has tried. They really have tried their very best to up the game with this hotel. But in California, you'll hear me talk about the Resort of Last Resort if you watch any of our DVC shows. The Resort of Last Resort in California among the Disney hotels is absolutely Paradise Pier. It's usually a little less expensive than its two contemporaries, Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian. But I kind of agree on this one, that Disney's got to... I don't know. I really don't know what else they can do. I really don't know what else other than raise the place and build it again. Have either of you been out to Paradise Pier?
I haven't stayed at Paradise Pier. When you have the Grand Californian or the Disneyland Hotel, it's always going to be my fourth on that list. So
yeah.
We've
Jackie?
only ever stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. That's the only one we've ever actually stayed at. I've never even stepped foot inside the Grand Californian, if you can even believe that.
No, I can't.
I know.
I can't.
I can't either.
When was that? A couple weeks ago, where I got to share a little bit of my my first impressions of when I had to stay at Paradise Pier with Rhino. And you know what though? I've been talking to someone about it, and I think I think I'm starting to soften my opinion on that hotel a little bit more. Yeah, it would always be nicer to see it get a little bit of extra love. But you know what? The rooms are really big, and uh, it's still very close by to everything. So honestly, there are good aspects to it. But yeah, a little extra love here and there wouldn't hurt.
So,
Yeah.
Craig, you have to stay at one, Grand Floridian or Paradise Pier. You would choose Paradise Pier over Grand Floridian?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I would probably, if I had to rank them, I would say
Oh.
I would stay Grand Floridian in the DVC rooms. I know that wasn't included, but I do love the DVC at the Grand Floridian. I think those rooms are really, really
Agreed.
nice. But if it was just Grand Floridian Hotel versus Paradise Pier, I would stay at Paradise Pier a million times over before Grand Floridian.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, see, I even with body fluid couch, I can't say that. I can't say that. Even if I'm out in California, I won't stay at Paradise Pier. I don't like it. I never did. I've tried it. I've stayed there a few times. Just when I'm out in Disneyland, that's not the vibe I'm looking for. Disneyland Hotel, Grand Californian, yeah, that's absolutely what I'm looking for. But yeah, but great article, Sherry. Thank you for writing it, and thank you guys for being with it. Oh my God, thank you guys for being with us. That is going to do it for our show for this week. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jackie, for being here. Thank you, Craig, as always. And we will see you again next week with another episode of the Diz Unplugged. Have a great week, folks, and remember, stay out of the damn lakes.